Hey guys, welcome back to Bad Hombre Garage. Let's fire this thing up today. Alright, I admittedly left you guys on a cliffhanger at the end of the last episode. We got everything prepped and ready to fire off. And to be honest, the reason I did is because I wanted to do a live feed of the initial fire off. Maybe some of you guys can put some comments down there to help me out, but I can't figure out how to do a good live feed on YouTube. Either it must just be my laptop's not up for it because I practiced one and it was choppy and just not a very good feed. So I didn't want to do that to you guys. I'm going to experiment today. Here in about 45 minutes, I'm going to crank up on Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, you go check it out, Bad Hombre Garage. You'll see it down in the comments below. But we're going to try to do a live feed on Instagram. And of course, I'm going to film it here with the camera and put an episode out on YouTube of it. So let's jump in. We got a few things to get knocked out before we fire this thing off. Okay, you guys remember, we set the distributor in last night and left it with these gigantic spark plug wires. Look at those bad boys. I bought that at a swap meet from a guy, and you know, it was like 40 bucks for the coil and everything, and goodness, I don't know if those are the kind you can trim down to size or what, but I'm not going to mess with it right now because I don't want to break one and then not be able to fire it. I'll probably just buy a set of new plug wires. Okay, so I put my distributor in. We kind of left off with that. I dropped it in. Remember, I had my engine set on top dead center. Brought it right here to, actually it's 14 degrees prior to the top dead center per the harmonic balancer timing. And so I just lined it straight up with my number one at that, with my number one spark plug. And now I got my plug wires run in, 1843657.2. They're in the right order. We can forget about the distributor. It's plugged in, wired, correct, good. I've got to do a little bit. I got to put a return spring on my throttle. I got to adjust some screws on there to get a good baseline. I cleaned up a little more wiring. That's what I was doing in here today. I've got a little bit more to go to clean up, but I got to hook up a couple grounds. I've got a post underneath there, underneath the dash, and I'll get into this in my wiring episode, which is halfway through and it'll finish later. But anyway, I've got a post under there with a stud that all my grounds from underneath are tied to. I just need to go and ground my body to the frame and the engine to either the frame or the body. So I'm going to dive in. I'm going to knock those few things out, and then I'll probably have it on the tripod here in a little bit. I'm going to open up the door, move the car around, and get everything prepped up and set so that we can crank this thing up for the first time. All right. All right, guys, I'm pretty pumped. I got about 10 minutes before I got to go live, and we're going to crank this thing up for the first time. Hey, before we get to that point, I got a couple shout outs I got to give. So first shout out of the day goes to my man, NZ Mopar. And if you watch his videos, I think he calls it NZ Mopar, like New Zealand Mopar. But he's NZ Mopar on YouTube. Go check him out. I'll throw him a link at the end of this or down in the description. Go check out his channel. He's got some pretty good stuff. A couple other shout outs while I'm out of here. I really like watching Dave Scott Rods. He's doing some pretty good stuff. He's got his old 36 Chevy Coupe running. And then also finally to my man Dan DD Speed Shop. That guy's giving away a 4-door 57 Chevy. You have a chance to win it. All you got to do is go subscribe to his channel. And when he hits 57,000 subscribers, he's going to pick one and give you the car. And it's turning out pretty good. So, all right, there's some shout outs for the day. It's about time to get this thing ready to crank up. All right, guys, getting ready to crank this thing up. I got my tripod set up. I'll have you on there. I want to drop one more tip on you. Again, Harbor Freight, think what you want about it, but I picked this little tool up there, and I've already just plugged it into the car. What you do is just put it in line in between one of your spark plugs. Crank it over, boom, lights up, you got spark, right? How many times you tried to balance a screwdriver against the ground and do it? This takes all the guesswork out of it. So, all right, there you go. There's your one-man, small shop, garage tech tip of the day. I'm going to go get the hose because I plan on firing this thing up and running it for about 10 minutes and then shutting it down and doing it a couple times. So I'm going to get the hose and bring it over. Next time you see me, we'll be bringing up live feed. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to hook up my battery cable. let's fire this thing off. Looking good, huh? All right. Well, so I think there's 9 of you guys on right now, guys and gals. Thank you guys. You're awesome. I appreciate it. Without any further ado, let's fire this thing off. See what happens. Get some gas up to it.
One guy wants flames.
And I didn't have a catch tank on my radiator. Alright guys, I gotta fire this thing up and do 2 more cycles like that. About 10 minutes up there, about 2 to 3,000 RPM. Here's why. Okay, I'm gonna get some explanation going. It's got a hydraulic roller camshaft in it, right? You guys have heard me say that a few times. So it's very important we have a flat to have a camshaft, obviously, to break it in appropriately. Well, do you have to do that with a hydraulic roller? I've done a bunch of research, and it's not just the camshaft to break it in, right? There's rings that got a seat, there's push rods and rocker arms, lots of friction and moving things that you want to break in appropriately. You need the oil splashing up to make it happen. The biggest thing is a camshaft. Now let's talk about oil. If you guys watched my last episode, you saw that I just dumped in here the Valvoline VR1 Racing Oil High Zinc, but I didn't dump in some specific break-in oil. My opinion, on the research I did, the people that said that you needed to use break-in oil were the people that sold break-in oil when it comes to a hydraulic roller camshaft. I believe it's very important with a flat tappet, but with a roller, not as important. So I'm happy with the oil I have in there. So I'm still going to do the break-in procedure just like it was a flat tappet though, as far as bring it up on temp, run it higher RPMs, shut it down, don't let it sit there and idle. I'll do that 3 times. I'll change my oil filter, and then I'll drive the sucker. So there you go. There's the explanation on that. I'm not going to bore you with more car just sitting there running. I might bring it back and do a little bit of show you what it sounds like one more time. I rigged up my temporary catch can. You guys hopefully caught that at the last video when I shut it off and it spit out the puke neck. I should have thought about that. Anyway, it's not going to recycle it, but it'll catch it, and then eventually I'm going to turn this can into a proper catch return reservoir. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for checking out Bad Hombre Garage. Thanks for watching me enjoy that time. I gotta admit, if you saw the Instagram story, I got a little emotional when my dad put a comment on there about how, about it. So anyway, pretty happy. This is something I love doing with family and friends. Love it. I'm glad you guys joined along with this. Share this with somebody. Subscribe if you want.